IMHO Talk Show.
But I want to start off like this, and Ty, since you are our guest, you can go first, and then Razor, Max, in the order you want. Ty, we would be remiss because I know you, brother, and I know our history, and a lot of our history was inspired and centered around the Charlottesville landmark of Mel's Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, about the, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Ty, so I want you to just share to the people what Mel has meant to you since your stint here in Charlottesville began.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, I've been in business for 32 years, going on 33 years, and when I first came to Charlottesville, I came to when I came to Charlottesville, I was like, where are the black-owned restaurants? Like, I wanted to, support a black-owned restaurant. This was like the very first time I came up here. It was in the '90s, and this guy this woman, pointed me to Mel's Diner.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, cool. So I went to Mel's Diner, got something to eat. And man, and I'm gonna tell you right now, man, he has, Mel passed away from us with the same exact smile on his face that I saw back then. And that was like, man, how long was that? Like almost 2 decades, I guess, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at least.
He's gonna be really missed, man. He was an entrepreneur. He was successful in his own right. And he served everyone.
He was successful.
So, he served everyone. People, it didn't matter the nationality, ethnicity, or what have you. And people came to Mel's to get food, and food is where we congregate over food. We have discussions over food, come together over food, man. And so he really was, he really was a staple of the community, man. He's gonna be sadly missed. I miss him already. In my heart, my heart, how you get that feeling when your heart drops to your stomach when you get bad news? Mm-hmm. That's exactly what happened. I saw Chris and Seika's post on Facebook, and I was like, no, this can't be this, no. Because sometimes you think people are gonna live, we know we're not gonna live forever, but we always think that people are gonna live, like a person like Mel's, we think gonna live forever almost. And he just left us too soon, and he left a community behind, and he left family who loved him, and just what it is. There's no replacement of him. I do hope that his family continue the business because his name should continue. Hopefully they do it successfully like he did. But only time will tell.
Big talk. Thank you for that. Razor, Max.
Yeah.
Would you like
Matt,
to
you want to go, Max?
Yeah. This was difficult for me, and I'm not from Charlottesville, and I like to think I've been adopted into the community. But Ty was right. Mel was consistent. He was always a friendly person. He always had a smile on his face. No matter when you saw him, he was like very personable. He was a kind person. He cared about, I think I saw a Facebook book post talking about his food. And I don't know about any of you, but as a cook, I think I can refer to myself as that. You can taste the difference in food that has just been thrown together and food prepared by someone who cared about preparing that food. And you got that at Mel's Diner.
Big facts.
And my condolences to the family. He always had a kind word to say to me whenever I went to the restaurant, but I would always get, "Where Ray's at?" Like, it's about me right now. Can I get my 2 pork chops? Razor is fine. But he will be greatly missed. He certainly can't be replaced. And I lost my dad about a little over a year ago. And the difficult part for me is that when you feel like, at least I do, when a person has done the right thing and been a good person, life repays them at the end. Because I think about the rumors of how the end came for Mel. I don't know what's true and what isn't, but in thinking about my dad, you think it's going to be slow and family's going to be around and, and people that love him will be there, and it'll just be something that we kind of expecting and we can all be a part of, and he knows that he's loved and this, that, and the other. And life don't always deal us that card.
Right.
And so, I don't question God, but condolences to this family. Know that your loved one was adored by the city and beyond, and we appreciate him. Praying for you.
Yes, indeed. Mr. Razor?
Yeah, time messed me up, and then Max followed up. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting here with, tears in my eyes thinking about him. My introduction to him was Max sending me over from her old job to go get her regular. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to describe it.
It was good.
And he was like, "You talking about Max? Why you ain't say so?" And that told me that Max knew his people. It wasn't about the meal. It was about his people and what makes you happy. So then at the time I wasn't into the food trade, but when I got into it, it's easy for people to feel like you're stepping into their lane or you're doing something that, you're not qualified to do. Mel immediately accepted me into the food industry, was an advocate for my business. And every time that him and I was in Sam's Club, Food Line, or anywhere else, that same kind spirit, that same smile y'all were talking about greeted me. When Mel stood in front of you, talking to you, it was almost like he was hugging you in a conversation. So
And you felt like you had his undivided attention.
Absolutely. There was nothing else that mattered to him but what you wanted to talk about and how he wanted to support you if he could. And I differ from Ty a little bit when I say this, and I say this the most respectful way. When somebody has done the amount of work that he has done, I think you let that go with them, because society has a way of whatever somebody's good intention is to carry on his legacy, it's not going to be good enough. And then they're going to attach it to his name. So me personally, I would rather see a Males 2 as opposed to just a Males, just because I know there's no way for you to catch that platform that he stood on.
Gotcha. Thank you, man. Thank you for that.
And you got to do a hell of a job if you do.
That was. I agree with you, Razor. I do agree with you on that. Yeah, I just want his name to still stay on that marquee.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, on that marquee, even if it's Mel's 2 or whatever the case may be. But yeah. And one thing I want to add before you give your flowers, is that another thing about Mel, man, is that I knew that he was super proud of me, right? Just being a black man.
I felt that way too.
Longevity, and he had longevity, and we both shared that. And I know, because he used to, like, he every time he'd see me, he'd say, "What you got going on now? What you got going on?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would come in there with posters or flyers sometimes and stuff like that. And even if I didn't, and sometimes I would order something just to order something. I'm not even hungry, but I didn't want to go in his space and ask him to put up a poster and then don't get something. So sometimes, them little cakes that he had, the little pound cakes that he had,
right up front on the left hand side.
Yep. Yeah. I'll grab that if I didn't have time to really get something and sit down and eat and stuff. So yeah, man. So anyway, I just wanted to share that, man. He wasn't a hater, man. He was someone who love other people progress and prosperity. And with Razor, he definitely didn't look at Razor Order Up as competition. He looked at it as like, another person who's going to try to make it. And that's how stuff like that.
100%.
Appreciate that, y'all. Yeah. Just lastly, what I want to sort of bring up the rear with this is it. It's sort of jarring. It's sort of wow, like it's a sort of a spiritual feeling more than an emotional feeling. Like, I think it was divine that I had a guest come to town.
Okay.
On Tuesday. And and when I was like, they from out of town, they want to experience local, I'm taking them to Mel. Right now, it just so happened that they had to end up rushing back.
Mm-hmm.
And so we didn't have time to get lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So just the way that those crossroads of events,
mm-hmm.
those sequence of events happen
mm-hmm.
is just, like it's sort of very mind boggling to me that it kind of played out that
mm-hmm.
way.
Mm-hmm.
But the main remembrance that I have as far as giving my flowers is that, like just the being a good, caring brother. Our sons went to city schools together.
Mm-hmm.
And every time it would be, of course, checking, how he would ask, how am I doing? But always ask how the family's doing.
Yeah.
And, definitely being inquisitive about like what I got going on, what's going on, like how he can help,
mm-hmm.
right, when it comes to community things. And I think about the mentoring, and I think about how he would give of himself. He would work outside of his normal hours, and he would give, beyond great deals
mm-hmm.
to feed masses of kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because he knew that was his ministry,
mm-hmm.
right? Like that was his mission. And he cared about the community. He cared about the families. He cared about the youth.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my main takeaway. And so, definitely prayers and blessings to the community, all the family and friends. And so IMHO Talk Show to the city of Charlottesville, we still here, still standing, and we're going to carry on the greatness, the legacy that was, already planted as a foundation for us. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor,